Today we're going to be talking about the book called 50 Secrets of the Longest Living People. I have it right here. I actually checked this out of the library and I liked it so much that I wanted to keep this with me at all times as a reference in case I forget something or I want to double check something. So I bought the book off Amazon. And so I have to say this book is quite amazing. It's basically 50 secrets, 50 tips, and each tip there's a handful of pages of experiments, scientific studies, knowledge, facts, and examples from the longest living villages and people of all time to support each of these things. Some have information or tips about diets or what you should eat. Others have stuff on just how you should live your life, things you should probably do on a daily basis. And I just think it's very, very useful. And one thing I am planning on doing in the future is a vlog video where I compiled what's been said about the diet stuff, and then I'll just go to Whole Foods or some healthy supermarket of some sort and really figure out what foods fit these standards. I'll probably plan it all out before and then go there, shop around, and then start constructing a diet based off of that. And I do think that you can eat healthy and it can still taste good. It requires some effort and brainstorming, but it can be done. So I just want to mention a few of the 50 tips in this book. I mean, there's many on food that are quite interesting. Some are obvious, such as have a good egg, be full of beans, which pretty much means eat eggs, eat beans, and use garlic and onions. So use those. To some that are not so obvious, like enjoy pizza guilt-free. So some, as you can tell, require some reading. You can't just base it off the title or you'll get the wrong idea. You'll be eating Pizza Hut all day and then you'll die from a heart attack at the age of 30. So just keep that in mind. And again, don't take this book as like a holy grail, because I do think what's said about the eggs is true, but with more research, you realize that you have to have the right type of eggs. And that's not conflicting or supporting what's said in this book about eggs. It's just saying that there's very different types of eggs you can get. Some chickens are treated horribly and they're put in very stressful conditions, and thus they produce very stressful, crappy eggs that are not that good for you. And on the flip side, there are, oh, actually, in this chapter, it does mention this. It actually goes into quite a bit of detail on this, but basically, there are other types of chickens who are not caged, they're organic, and they're fed with the right type of diet. They're allowed to roam in the fields, and all this stuff and more adds together to create a much, much different type of egg that can dramatically boost your health. So these things are things you should keep into account. However, I just want to talk about not the diet stuff. Those are important, of course, and I mean, there's so many interesting facts about that. There's one thing that says if you ever want cooking oil or any type of oil, use virgin olive oil. And it goes into detail as to why. And it actually lists quite a few recipes at the end based off the top 5 villages who have had the longest living people in them. And it has everything, the ingredients, the recipe. They're kind of short and kind of trite and not very detailed, but there's about at least 15 in there at the end of the book if you want to try those out. But I want to talk about the other pieces of advice that are listed in this book, and it's just very fascinating. Sing in the shower, laugh it off. Let's just talk about these two. Let's talk about laugh it off. Sing in the shower, it kind of implies just a general vibe and mood you should have. But laugh it off relates to how some of the longest living people have this amazing ability to just not be stressed out by anything, because stress, as detailed in the chapter, is a cause to most diseases. And it talks about how one of the longest living people was just known for her ability to not be stressed by anything. Her personality was known throughout the land for being this unfallable type of person who can't be stressed at all. And it goes into detail, and it talks about other little stories that all add. And I personally would constantly want to keep being reminded about this stuff to make sure I incorporate this into my daily lifestyle. But it's all very important, and this is why I bought this book. For instance, there's this one story in the chapter where it details about how this man, he fell into this horrendous situation where he had to take like 38 different types of pills every day, and he was bedridden, and he decided that he wanted to bring laughter into his life, because that would change everything and it would reduce stress and so forth. So he watched a lot of comedy films, and it turned out that just watching maybe 5 to 10 minutes per day alleviated his suffering for up to 2 hours. So these are things that I have to keep in mind. So just a summation of some of the things that I would now be incorporating into my life that I haven't. And I don't think it's too big of a stretch. I mean, there's a lot of little tiny stuff, but it's not a huge stretch to put these in. 1, sunshine in your life. So that's something I'm a huge violator of. No sunshine at all. I'm just always indoors on the computer, reading and so forth. I'm going to try and cut that out, spend some time outdoors with the sun. Heck, I can read outside. Heck, I can bring my laptop outside. So that's one thing. Another, exercise, exercise, exercise. And you can tell the emphasis on that by the 3 times reiteration of the word. So this is something, again, I've finally gotten back into. I'm exercising. I did quite a bit yesterday, and I'm very good at it. Wait, I said that wrong. I'm not very good at it, but I'm getting into. I'm getting good at actually working towards committing to it. I don't know why I said I'm very good at it, but I'm working towards it now, and it's something that's very helpful. And for me, oftentimes it's been either I have been so focused on other things that I've cut it out completely for months, sometimes years, or it's just taking such a low priority based on the other goals I want to achieve that it screws me over. But it's a necessary thing, and I don't think you need to kill yourself and do 2 hours of it every day. I do think like a healthy 20 to 30 minutes is very useful. For me, I have a propensity for sure to binge exercise and then just not go. And so it's very likely for me, if I set a goal of like 10 to 20 minutes, sometimes I'll be in there for an hour or 2 hours, and I'm trying to limit that because it leads to overindulging and then just not so much. So there's other things. Jog your memory. So this is a chapter on how memory skills, thinking games, whether it's a board game, card game, consistently can help keep you away from those diseases that affect the old, like Alzheimer's and so forth, and keep you alive and alert and young in terms of how your mind thinks. And there's many examples and many real life examples I know of where some old people, they're just like dead logs, and they've sort of resigned themselves, and they don't really exercise their minds. There's other stuff like breathing, sitting still and doing nothing, sleeping, getting your fair share of sleep. That's a huge one that I am fairly good at. Other people, I don't think they are. They cut off their sleep to a huge extent. Um, Invite a friend over. Clean with juices and saunas. Have faith. So that relates to religion. Marry or get a dog. Avoid the standard American diet. Give help to others. That's a huge one. Volunteering and helping others can benefit your own happiness. Um, that's something I'm trying to work on. It's finding the right cause and really something I'm really into that I can do that is the problem, but we'll work on it. Chewing your foods. This is a huge one. It's like the smallest little change in your lifestyle, but it can lead to tremendous differences. Chewing your food. I mean, I can go on and on about this, but again, this video is already 11 minutes. Who knows who's still watching this? But um, basically, the chapter details how if you chew your foods numerous times, and they recommend up to 100. I think that's overkill. Chewing your food 50 to 100 bites before swallowing, it can do a lot of things for you. It can help with your digestion. And for me, I'm someone who always just swallows food. So this is something new that I never really thought about that I'm implementing. And one thing it definitely does is it lets you savor your food much more and intake it much slower, which calms my appetite. And if you guys don't know, I'm known for eating a lot. Everyone knows that I eat a lot. And one of the things I do is I just kind of like take a couple bites and then just swallow the whole thing. And I can eat more than a overweight person at times. And with chewing this food and stuff, it's allowed me to take in less rations, which brings me to another thing mentioned in this book, which is eat until you are only I think it's 8 parts full, which means I think it means 80% full. And this is something that I definitely need to work on. Oftentimes I overindulge and eat until I'm 135% full. And these things, that's not going to help. And so, again, it's a fascinating book. I can go on and on about this, but this video is getting kind of long, so I'll cut it here. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I'll see you in my next video. And like this video if you found it interesting. Leave a comment for discussion with our community, and I will see you guys later. Peace.